What's up, Arnulfo?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited to, we're talking again. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
caught off sides, man. Caught off sides.
On
Slowly,
and upwards, baby. On and upwards.
exactly. Slowly getting to a place that we can finally get this project moving along to the pace we want. So, a lot to talk about, man. A lot of things happened over the last weekend that we
I
didn't get
haven't
to
heard.
haven't chat about. A lot of bad shit essentially happened, went down in Queretaro between the game and Atlas, visiting them. So, tell me about that. Tell me some thoughts. What went through your mind, man? Like, how did you take all this incident as a fan?
I mean, I think I was like everyone. I was shocked. I was shocked, and then kind of speechless. And well, the crazy part is, I was actually at the house, and I was watching an MLS game. I was watching the Charlotte first hometown game, and they had the stadium 75,000. That place was rocking, and I had it. I was like, the first 5 minutes. That's when all the videos started coming out on Twitter. So the whole game, I did not pay attention. I just like kept like scrolling and just couldn't what's going on, what's going on. It's crazy that how far it gotten. I mean, I know there's been incidents here and there, like between Tigres and Rayados, but never this. I mean, there's like 20 something confirmed dead.
Yeah, and there's also like the San Luis game a couple years ago in San
Yeah.
Luis. There's an incident there, and then Tigres and Rayados had some history, but I don't think inside the stadium per se.
No,
Um,
we're on the streets,
on the streets,
after.
on the
Yeah.
caravans. But it's definitely something that I'm really not used to, man. Like obviously, like growing up and watching all this, like obviously you supporters groups are a lot more. I don't want to say more passionate or intense in Mexico than because MLS groups have supporters groups.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the difference is like, and what's been a hot topic was the fan identification. Like, who are these people that are being associated in these groups
Yeah.
and that are supporting them? So I think that I'm not used to in the sense of like having to put myself in that situation. But it's very sad, man. It's like what they did was horrific. It was inhumane, and to see the sport like possibly like be on the downhill, not so much only with the talent on the men's side and for the league, but it's just the sport in general because obviously your biggest audience are like young people, and
Yeah.
people don't you're gonna lose fans if you continue to have violence in stadiums. So hopefully this is not something that ever occurs again, but it's pretty sad because it affects many different aspects of not only the clubs that were involved but also the league, for the men and the women's.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. That's what sucks is, the people that went there, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna start a fight," and the people that agreed to it, that's one thing, if something's happened to them. But now there's like kids that are trying to run away, and like people who had nothing to do with the what initiated that just because you're wearing a certain jersey, now you're getting attacked. I mean, I think that's the worst part of it.
Yeah, I just can't, like, that's what I mean. Like, I can't imagine that. Like, it's like you're being a savage at that point. Like, you're not
Yeah,
being, you're just being like someone
savage.
fight,
Yeah.
yeah, so fighting for human existence. Like, and it's crazy that like seeing like not having that stop and like it just seemed like they were on a mission, and that's why there's been a lot of talks about organized crime and stuff. And even today, I was listening to a Twitter space about the people from TUDN had Sam Reyes, who is the leader of the Libres y Locos. And it's very interesting. I learned a lot on how they function and like, their structure as far as how they operate, as far as identifying, their fans or, the supporters in their group. And it's kind of like what leads us into talking about all the backlash, all the things the negative things that came out of it. So we know Querétaro has no games at the Corregidora for a year. All the
Yeah,
organ.
no crowds. They had to sell the team ownership. Front office is banned for 5 years of anything to do with Mexican soccer. I'm
No,
assuming soccer, period, in within FIFA.
no visiting supporters group. So
Yeah, and then now it affects the rest of the league.
and it affected the women's and the expansion too. So there was no Liga MX games for the Sunday, and there was no Monday games for Liga MX Femenil. So now you got to move the calendar around to fit these games.
Yeah.
So it's one terrible incident by people who lost their minds, caused a lot of problems for a lot
Yeah,
of
it's a
people.
domino effect.
Correct.
It sucks because then you hear people saying, "Well, Querétaro shouldn't play in the Primera División anymore," and the team are like, "Man," but at that point, you're punishing the players. They had nothing to do with it, the men's or the women's. Now I can understand you wanting this ownership, lack of security, and yeah, that for sure they should be held responsible. But I don't think dropping the team completely would be proactive, because like a bunch of guys had nothing to do. They're out there playing a game, and then now they're not going to be able to.
I think the only thing that teams can take from this is like definitely invest in the infrastructure in terms of like security and identifying fans inside the stadium. That's something that we'll probably see a lot more emphasized moving forward, or hopefully we do.
Yeah.
So,
And the league, and if a team says that they can't for whatever reason, the league has to be able to do it. Like support, whatever, whether it's financial support or whatever, to help them, because that's because there was no security. Like all the security, there's volunteers, man.
yeah, there's definitely a lack of operations and awareness. So I want to talk about how the femenil, in our website and Twitter space that we use, or Twitter account, we talk about the Liga MX Femenil. So caught Offsides, follow us on Twitter. But and on the femenil side, you have Querétaro Femenil now, who didn't play La Corregidora. They had their own stadium where they were playing at. Now are not able to host games with no fans.
Right.
So now this team that completely different division of gender has to pay for, and it sucks, man. It sucks for the players that some use that as motivation to have fans inside the stadiums to play better and know that the league is growing and that people are rallying behind the players. Sucks.
Yeah, it does. And now, because you watch some of these empty stadiums, and it's not fun, man. It doesn't feel the same, the environment.
Yeah. So hopefully, they stay strong, they stay motivated, and move past from this. I think that the whole league, or the whole country needs to kind of look at themselves in the mirror and realize that there's a lot more that we can do individually to like not promote a sense of violence, especially with the sport, and especially how big it is in Mexico and how the whole country rallies behind it. So very interesting what what happens after moving forward for this. So
Yep.
but we got some games this weekend. We got some
Finally
good games. Yeah.
I feel like we just came from a long layoff and we had to take another one.
It felt like a FIFA break, dude, and we didn't have any soccer. Yeah, it sucked. I watched actually MLS on Sunday, and I was reflecting on the fact that I couldn't believe that I was making time to watch an MLS soccer game. And that's no knock on the league. I love some of the teams that play in it, but I never really like made plans to sit down and watch a game. And I did so this weekend because I was prepared to watch the Tigres game against Pachuca.
Oh, right.
At 5, and then that didn't happen. So I watched Carlos Vela, who didn't even play much because they were watching him for a possible injury. So, anyways, glad that Liga MX and Liga MX Femenil is back. But yeah, let's talk about these games. So the first one and most important one, Clásico, el Super Clásico Nacional.
Yeah. I wish America's coming in with a little bit of momentum, but I think this one's gonna be the closest game of the week, because I think the team they're right there, they're third and fourth.
Mm-hmm.
And Tigres has a great defense, and America has a great offense. I mean, obviously, Tigres, Chivas.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your shirt.
I'm glad. I'm glad you think it's a classic though. I'm glad you fell for the narrative that people push. But okay, yeah, America Chivas, cool. Go ahead. You were saying though.
Yeah, but I think America is leading with the second best offense, and Chivas, I believe they have the best defense.
Four
And they
goals.
also can score. I mean, they have Alicia Cervantes, so I mean, they can score. But I think America's defense is gonna be able to hold them a little
Dude,
bit.
I think she's like I rate her pretty high. I think she's really good. Licha Cervantes. I don't think she just has the flashiness, dude. So I hope I don't know. I'm not rooting against your team because I would never like purposely root against you unless you play against my team. But
Yeah,
um, I can see Chivas pulling, giving you guys a scare.
yeah. I mean, I think it'll be close.
Yeah. Do you think Katy scores?
Yeah, yeah. I think she'll. Yeah, she's what, 7, so one more retire her for the lead with Alicia.
7 games, 7 goals.
Yeah,
And the thing is, man, I had like a small little like feeling that she was gonna like not be as prolific as she
hmm
has been. I thought that like her move was going to like expose some of her like
weaknesses.
weaknesses in her game. And
She
so
only got
far,
better.
yeah, I mean, I don't know about better, but she's definitely like it's good to see her to be like the forefront and like of a team. Like she's definitely like I think that's the thing. I can't even say if she's the best player on the team, but she's definitely the leader of the team. Like she's the face of America Femenil.
I think the best way to put it is she can do her job better than anybody else does their job,
Yeah.
and her job is to score.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah. She's not the best player. Yeah, you're right.
no.
Yeah. But well, anyway, she's definitely the face. So I'm rooting for her. I mean, I definitely hated that she left. I hope that eventually I find out why that happened. But I think that she was kind of being pushed to the side in a way. But I think also her ego to be like, hey, I can also like dominate somewhere else also
Yeah,
took over. So I'm really curious to see whatever comes of that. But what's your prediction? What are you thinking?
I think 4-3.
4-3. Wow.
Yeah. I think it'll be high scoring, man. I think it'll be
So
4-3.
so you think America scores the same amount of goals that Chivas has allowed all season in one game?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I'm and here's why, because I think both teams are gonna come out rusty.
Yeah.
So I think there's gonna be laps in the defenses.
Yeah. I'm going
So
I'm going 3-2 America.
I mean, I won't mind that either. But yeah,
Yeah. You think it's high scoring game?
I think it's a high scoring game. Yeah, because I do think the defense is gonna be a little rusty. I mean, so will the offense, but I think both of them are gonna create.
I think they're gonna surprise you. I think it might be a tighter game, but I'm still sticking with 3-2. So then, we have another important game. Toluca and Tigres, Rayada and Necaxa. Or Rayadas, perdón. I'm sorry. Rayadas versus Necaxa. Rayadas, man. They look like,
They're gonna win. Spoiler.
yeah, for sure. What are you thinking? 7, 8,
I think in the piece that I wrote, I said 6-0.
6-0? Okay.
Yeah.
Man, dude, the more that I think about it, I don't think they lose a game to the end of the season. I think they tie against Tigres, and if maybe they tie, I think that Rayadas has been the best team all season, like no question, like wins with points, system, player form, their defense is amazing, the best in the league, I think, and then like their midfielder got a lot better, and then their style of play. So I think that they don't lose a game at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think either. And they're gonna get better when they get Eileen back too. She just finished up. Shout out to the women's U20 for qualifying for the World Cup.
Yeah, nice, man. That's coached by Maribel Dominguez.
Yeah, it's the women doing it for Mexico. I mean, even on the senior squad. So
Yeah, no, it's like I told you, I'm definitely calling it. The women's national team is definitely going to go further in the World Cup than Mexico's men's team will ever be.
Yeah, for sure.
But so Necaxa doesn't stand a chance. Rayadas
I don't
probably
see it.
going to dominate that
Yeah,
game.
it's gonna be a romping, man. It's gonna be a yeah. They sucks because I mean they drew the worst matchup. Probably coming, especially off of being off for
Yeah,
2 weeks and then coming back one and being off again. So yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say. It's gonna be a stomping. Yeah, Real is gonna go to what 27 points, 26 points.
I think these are the games that like decidimos se vais, and I think you mentioned it in your like article. Um, was the fact that these games are like important for like goal scores
Yeah,
to get ahead on the scoring table.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean for sure. You gotta feel bad for the team, but if you wanna be up there on top of the goal scorers, you want to be the one that wins the award at the end of the season, and you got to score on somebody. You might as well score on you. At least she has 5, so
Yeah,
3 a hat trick. I mean, she just scored a hat trick, so
yeah,
I mean, a hat trick is very very
feasible.
much likely.
Yeah, and you know another game that Tigres Toluca game. So one of the things, man, that like waiting for is Tigres to get going, man. It just seems like they kind of want to get going, but not really. I feel like their game's too predictable now, and the coach Medina is. It's kind of like the same thing that happened with the men's side, with Tuca Ferretti.
Stale.
Yeah, still like not enough tactical changes. Like this, dude, when he subbed Ferli Sondo in the 95th, 94 minute. So I think that one of the things for Tigres going into this game is going to be to establish like a clear system of how they're going to play with the new additions. I think that's also been the problem
Yeah.
is that Mia Fisho is really good, Uche Cano is really good, Stephanie Mayor is really good, and then you have Jackie Ovalle, and then on the right side, Belen Cruz can play there, but you don't have a true right winger that can play, and so you run into this problem of wanting to play either 2 or those 3 players, but Stephanie Mayor is the one that can play as a 10 or as a 9.5 behind the striker. In this case, it's been Mia Fisho, but I don't think he's figured out a way to, decide either, hey, I'm playing with 2 or I'm going to go out 3. Personally, I think he should play all 3.
Yeah.
And play a 4-3-3, but he's going to be scared of playing Jackie Ovalle as a left center mid because, she's used to playing on the wing, but she started only on the left wing. And when Maria Sanchez was there, she played on the right wing a lot. So she's expanding her game. And I've seen it on the men's side too. Like guys can play if you're disciplined enough and you're talented enough. And I think she's capable of doing both. She plays there in the middle. Then you play Liliana Mercado, next to her in that
Mm-hmm.
formation, and then Nancy Antonio behind them. But I think that he's not willing to try these things. So that's the problem. He needs to be able to handle that depth of roster and squad. So this game could be a possibility for him to do that, which I doubt though.
Yeah, I mean, what is Toluca 15th on
Yeah.
in the table, I believe. So yeah, you got room for error right there. So I mean, this is a game that you should experiment with, and
will we see it though? That's the question.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I like watching Stephanie Mayor play and Ottavaya play like a lot. So, wherever he puts him, I'm sure they're going to do good. And I want to see Mia and Uchenna play together. You know who Uchenna reminds me of? From of Chucho.
Chucho
Benitez, just for her because of the size. I feel like she could just like you can't like take her down. You can't,
And that's the thing. Like he needs to figure out how to play them because like in my opinion, Tigres has the 2 best players in the league. But they're not going to be the best players in the league because they play with each other. But I don't think there's anybody as talented as Uchenna Kanu, and I don't think there's anybody as talented as Mia Fisho in the league. I think they have the most soccer development and fundamentally developed game out of anybody that's played in Mexico. So I think even like the American players that are able to, play in the league, I think them too you can just tell the way that they handle the ball, receive the ball, like what their movements, it's just a lot more advanced than what you see probably being trained in Mexico, I think.
I think they should try playing them like I said, that Chucho comparison, play them like Chucho and Raul Jimenez.
Yeah.
With Mia playing for back, and I don't know, you've obviously watched Mayor play more, because she played like center.
Yeah, no, she can play
Yeah,
as
center
an
mid.
attacking mid, but I think
Yeah.
you play all three of them, bro, at the top, and you let them just go all over the place. You just
Yeah,
let them
no,
just
I
let them be up
agree.
just let them up there, and just make sure that the mid is like strong, and like maybe your defense tactically doesn't go up as much because you have all these attackers up here.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think it comes down to like player selection. I feel like if they got Uchenna, and they weren't counting on losing Katy at that point. I don't think, because I think Katy was still like, they had a possibility, but then the Cordoba thing came up. But I think that's why it was going to be Uchenna and then play with Katy and play Mayor Awine.
right.
I think that was the original plan.
But I mean, skill wise, Mia is better than Katy, so
just got to find that chemistry, man.
Yeah, but they
Find
have
that
to play together. That's the thing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, and the coach has got to be willing to try different things, because if not, like, he's just gonna be like subbing for like, positionally instead of like looking to make in-game adjustments that while playing all of them.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree with you.
So I mean, ultimately, I think Tigres will come out probably winning that 4-1, maybe even 5-1, but it also could be 1-0, 2-0, because Medina's game is very predictable and stale, like we mentioned.
Yeah, it could be another Pachuca situation.
Yeah, exactly. And which leads us into the last game that we're going to mention and talk about. So Pachuca San Luis. Pachuca looked good against Tigres, and it was
not so good against Pumas,
and not so good against.
And I was very disappointed because, like, that was the game of the season so far, and I don't think that any game's gonna beat it. But so I was hoping, and I figured they would carry that momentum on to Pumas, because Pumas is nowhere near the level of Tigres. They should have, had they played that same game, they would have dominated that game, and you end up losing 1-0 and kill all your momentum.
Yeah. So that's probably the thing that their squad lacks, man. It's just the consistency, because they have a squad to compete with the other teams. So they just got to
they have a goal scorer up top.
They have a goal scorer.
They have a great defense.
Great defense.
Good goalie.
Yeah. And good depth at midfield.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was gonna say they have depth.
We'll see. I think that they win though against San Luis, no problem.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's what on paper it would mean.
Yeah.
But all right, man. Anything else you wanna end the episode on?
Nah, man. I'm just looking forward to the games, and everyone follow us on social media at Caught Offsides Pod all across the board.
Yeah, and what's your personal one?
It is at Arnulfo 013.
And mine's _Lozano 10. So catch you next time.
Yeah.